Emmerdale heartbreak ahead. Paddy's growing fears as Bear Wolf faces a life-altering crisis. In the quiet heart of the Dales, something deeply troubling is stirring for one of Emmerdale's most beloved families. As laughter fades into worry and strength gives way to fear, Paddy Dingle is about to face one of the most painful dilemmas of his life, the slow, possible unraveling of his father, Bear Wolf. Next week on Emmerdale, viewers will be drawn into a poignant, emotionally complex story about memory, love, and the heavy burden of suspicion. Paddy becomes increasingly convinced that Bear may be developing dementia, a terrifying prospect that brings back past traumas, challenges his sense of control, and tests the bonds between father and son. But as Paddy's concern grows, Bear's resistance hardens, setting the stage for a confrontation filled with heartbreak, desperation, and ethical uncertainty. What happens when the people we love refuse help? How far would you go to protect them, even against their will? The outburst that sparked alarm. The first signs, as they so often are with dementia, seem almost innocuous at first. Bear Wolf has always been a force of nature, brash, bold, and slightly unfiltered. But recently, his behavior has begun shifting from eccentric to erratic. Paddy initially brushes off the quirks, chalking them up to age or perhaps stress. But when a recent outburst leaves him shaken, he finds himself opening up to an unlikely confidant, Gabby Thomas. As he relays the details of Bear's unusual behavior, moments of confusion, anger, or lost trains of thought, Gabby's expression turns serious. For Paddy, the conversation is casual. For Gabby, it's chillingly familiar. She's seen this before, an Emmerdale insider explains. Gabby watched her father Ashley suffer through the stages of dementia. She knows how it starts, and how devastating it can be. Gabby gently but firmly advises Paddy to take Bear to see a doctor. Get him tested, she urges. Don't wait until it's too late. It's the advice that shatters Paddy's hopeful denial, and marks the beginning of a tense, emotional rollercoaster. Facing the unthinkable, could Bear be ill? For Paddy, the suggestion that Bear could be developing dementia hits like a freight train. This isn't just about forgetfulness. This is about watching a parent slowly slip away, piece by piece. Paddy has seen the effects of the illness in others, through Gabby's story, through the community's collective memory of Ashley's heartbreaking decline. Now it's personal. He begins replaying Bear's recent actions in his head, the misplaced objects, the flashes of confusion, the irritable moments that came from nowhere. Were they signs? Had he missed them? Or worse, had he refused to see them? Paddy's mind is racing, says our source. He starts thinking back over the past few weeks, and suddenly everything feels like a potential symptom. He's afraid, deeply afraid. And yet, fear is not the same as action. For Paddy, the next step is the hardest, confronting Bear. The confrontation that backfires. When Paddy finally sits down with Bear and raises the subject of dementia testing, he does so cautiously, delicately. But Bear doesn't take it well. The older man is defensive, even offended. His pride wounded, Bear dismisses Paddy's concerns outright, accusing him of overreacting. The conversation quickly spirals into an argument, and Paddy is left reeling. It blows up in his face, says our insider. Bear refuses to listen. He's from a different generation, one that doesn't always talk openly about mental health or illness. To him, Paddy's suggestion feels like a betrayal. For Paddy, it's a crushing moment. He's desperate to help, but he can't force Bear to accept what he refuses to believe.
Solution. The online test plan. Enter Gabby once more, offering a controversial alternative. If Bear won't agree to a test, could Paddy conduct one without his knowledge? It's unethical, our source admits. But Paddy's a desperate man. With help from Marlon, Paddy begins hatching a secret plan to guide Bear through an online dementia test, cleverly disguised as something else. Maybe a fun game or quiz. The hope is that Bear might reveal signs of cognitive decline without even realizing he's being evaluated. But it's easier said than done. Bear isn't exactly tech-savvy, and getting him to sit still for anything that even resembles a test proves nearly impossible. Despite their best efforts, the plan begins to unravel almost as soon as it begins. Paddy's intentions are good, but the execution is a disaster, laughs our insider. He and Marlon realize that fooling Bear is not going to be as simple as they hoped. If anything, they risk making things worse. A growing mystery. What's really going on with Bear? As the week unfolds, Paddy's anxiety continues to mount. Is Bear hiding something? Could the memory lapses and behavioral changes be symptoms of something else entirely? Or is the dementia diagnosis inevitable? Mandy Dingle, Patty's longtime confidant and sometime partner, becomes involved, but even she doesn't have answers. In a recent interview, Lisa Riley, who plays Mandy, hinted at darker days ahead. "A lot's going to be happening with Bear Wolf," she teased. "We don't know what's going on with him. The audience will probably know, but Mandy, Patty and Vinny don't know at all. It's whether Bear's going to be in danger or not. Danger could be on the cards for him, but as the characters don't know." Her words suggest a storyline layered in suspense, one that will likely leave viewers with their own questions. Is Bear's behavior the result of a neurological condition? Or is something else, something hidden, happening beneath the surface? Family, fear, and the fight for truth. What makes this story particularly powerful is its emotional depth. Emmerdale has a long history of tackling real-world issues with empathy and nuance. From Ashley Thomas's landmark dementia storyline to Marlon's recent stroke recovery arc. This plot continues that tradition. The struggle between Patty and Bear is more than just a health crisis. It's a generational clash, a story of love expressed through frustration, a son trying to protect his father, and a father refusing to believe he needs protecting. "It's hard for Bear to accept that Patty sees him as vulnerable," explains a source close to the production. "He's always been the strong one, a larger-than-life figure. Now, he feels like he's being treated like a patient, not a parent." For Patty, the emotional cost is immense. He's caught between two impossible choices. Respect Bear's independence and risk missing something crucial, or push harder and risk breaking their bond. Who else notices Bear's decline? As the storyline progresses, others in the village may begin to notice Bear's change in behavior. Could Marlon see something during their interactions? Might Vinny, close to both Mandy and Bear, start piecing things together? Even characters like Shaz or Kane could get drawn in if Bear's actions begin to affect others outside the family. If Bear becomes a danger to himself or others, speculates one Emmerdale fan forum user, then the village might have no choice but to intervene. The soap is laying the groundwork for a wide-reaching arc, one that doesn't just affect Bear and Patty but could touch the entire community. And given how tight-knit the Dales are, secrets don't stay buried for long. Looking ahead, will the truth come out? So, what happens next? If Bear is suffering from early-stage dementia, it's possible we'll see a story arc that explores diagnosis, care planning, and eventual community support, much like Ashley's poignant storyline from years past. If not, the plot may pivot to another cause entirely: depression, another illness, or a buried trauma triggering memory issues. One thing is certain: Emmerdale won't take this lightly. Whatever the diagnosis, we're in for a powerful story, our source says. It's going to be about family, strength, love, and the pain of watching someone you admire begin to fade. Conclusion: a storyline that hits home. In many ways, this story isn't just about Bear Wolf. It's about all of us. It's about the fear we feel when our parents show signs of aging. The helplessness of watching someone slip away before your eyes. The guilt of wondering whether you're doing enough. The panic of wondering if you're too late. Through Patty's eyes, we see the unbearable burden of love, the weight of caring too much, of trying too hard, and of not knowing when to push or when to pull back. Bear may not be ready to face the truth, but Patty is, and his journey, painful and messy as it may be, is one that will resonate with families everywhere. Emmerdale has never shied away from emotional truth, and in the weeks to come, this story is sure to become one of the most compelling, heartfelt arcs of the year.